So 40 years after the launch of the lunar craft here, I'm just amazed at it. And there are two issues I want to bring up here. First of all, that rover, I'm sure, did it weigh tons? I mean, how many tons have we? India, China, Japan, France, all these boys that shoot stuff out into space. How many tons have we shot out into space? And what was the fuel that we burned out in space? So, all the space junk. So the Earth is getting lighter. I talked about this in another video. And so, are we being pulled close to the sun and close to the moon? Because these two bodies seem to have some magnetic influence on the Earth. And is that why we're having higher tides? Is that why we're having hotter temperatures? And so, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. We can't reverse that because it's amazing. I don't think that any organism lives in space, on the moon, or anywhere that scientists should be afraid to bring back on Earth. I don't see anything radiation from the sun that's closer, but radiation would reach us too. And in fact, Mars is further away from the sun than Earth, so that we would have more radiation here than Mars. Secondly, I noticed there are some hills, perhaps, and are there mountain ranges on the moon? It's amazing. As a child, and even later, up to a certain age, we had in the third world a talk that there's a man in the moon, or on the moon or something. You see this sort of shadow thing. But what people are saying it's maybe it's a mountain range, and when the sun shining on one side, that dark spot looks a certain way. But evolutionists say, and I was doing this in geography, and I asked the teacher, so do you believe that? He said, yeah, I believe that mountains came from lateral pressure, compacting, and then of course it just buckled and raised up and went high like the Himalaya mountain, and like the Orpuch mountain in Trinidad, and the Sierra mountains here in the States. And I don't think so, because they're not saying that there's a similar activity on Mars, on the moon, sorry. And as such, that theory should be looked at again. I mean, the creation theory is always the best. God created a mountain and everything as it is. Hardly anything changed, But what happened is that when the earth was created, the mountains weren't a rock as we see it today. Yes, there was a bedrock, but it was covered with dirt and grass and trees, and it was very, smooth and undulating. It wasn't this horrible looking, ugly red rocks or whatever. And it's after the flood. Much of it maybe might have been washed off with the water and so on. And the dead bodies of the animals and humans that strewn the valleys, God was so what's the word? It grieved him so much that he caused a storm that tore off mountains and so on, and then covered these bodies and so forth. So there was a mass burial, and some people believe that that is what we get oil from, etc. Coals, maybe the trees that were kind of buried, because those trees they were majestic, they were big, and so on. And so I think that space flight hasn't necessarily added anything to Earth, because with all our travels to various planets, there's nobody who could ever colonize any, because it's up to God of this universe to really colonize Earth, to organize it, and he did it in a systematic way. He put in light, he put in water, he put in trees to do I mean, when you go into it, it's so profound. It will take a whole lifetime to explain the strategy that he used there. And so I think that it's going to get hotter according to scriptures, hotter, and I guess the Bible also talks about islands going to disappear, so the water is going to keep rising, perhaps because we're going to keep up with more activities. Because when we left that lunar rover on the moon, it meant that the moon has become heavier. while the Earth is lighter. And we've added some more mass to the moon and perhaps give it some more gravitational strength. I don't know. But what do you think?